I'm a preschool teacher in Dixon. I wasn't born into culture. I was actually introduced to it when I started going to school. And I got signed up for this program in middle school called Youth Empowerment. And it really helped me stay out of trouble. It helped me tie into my culture. We learned how to make yaya dolls, listen to coyote stories, rode in canoes, we prayed, we smudged. I learned everything from them. And they followed me all the way up until high school, and I felt really connected. I felt like really strong and really, I don't know, apart. And then when I noticed that when I started going to high school that I couldn't follow through with that program, so because the grant ended, and I could see where it affected me, I felt kind of wandering. Then when I got back into college, like it all started right back up. It rekindled through SKC, and I don't know, it just sparked a light in me and made me super happy and kept my philosophy to give back to the kids and help the people. I am Salish from the Flathead Indian Reservation. I think my teachers when I was younger, they really supported me. I I watched how nurturing they were and caring they were. I I needed a role model like that in my life, so I chose that path because I felt most safe with them, and they really cared about my future. So with them, they inspired me to be a teacher. So that was like something I always wanted to do. I always wanted to give back. Then when I started enrolling in classes, I met Doug Ruman, my advisor, and he's probably one of the best advisors you'll ever meet. He always supported my love for the culture, and he signed me up for every cultural class there was, from language classes to sewing, beading. Every single time we had a new semester, he reminded me of my philosophy. Him and Molly Matt, when I worked side by side with her, she was a cultural specialist at Early Childhood Services, and I learned so much from her. And as she was teaching the kids, she was able to give me background knowledge and still provides resources for me in my classroom. The families and children that I work with are very loving. They're protective of their kids. They want what's best for them, and they will talk to you for hours on out to make sure that their kids are getting quality education. They like to listen to their celebration. They have really high expectations for their children. The kiddos that I have are super fun and exciting and eccentric. They like to express themselves as much as they possibly can, and they're just little free spirits. In the school with the children, I try to listen to them as often as I possibly can. I want to hear who they are. I want to learn about them so that I can make the classroom fun for them and make their studies easier for them to learn. And with the families, we have our parent meetings, of course, but I also text them and check on them like on a regular basis. I make sure that everything's okay. I check on students if they're not here, and I share videos and photos with them throughout the day. I coach basketball teams oftentimes. I'm a lot in the basketball area. I go to the games. I support lots of different teams. I've coached lots of different kids. And so, like at Two Eagle, I'm a really big fan at Two Eagle. It's such a strong school, such a strong community there. Ronan, an AAU team. So a lot of people will contact me if they want me to come see a game. One huge thing that I noticed is I like to show them read-alouds on YouTube. I don't have the books in my classroom, but when they see a book of a child with their skin color in it, they lose it. They point at the screen and say, there's me, and they get excited. And then even with the music on there, like I'll play Fawn Wood, and she'll have her beautiful face on the screen, and one of the kids specifically will say, there's my mom. Like they see people that look like them, and so he was going nuts. He was saying, that looks like my mom. Oh my gosh, that they relate to that, and they just like get so excited. And Fanwood does look like his mom, so I just kind of let him like hear it out. Yeah, I wasn't able to introduce any stories until the snow fell on the ground, our traditional coyote stories, and it helps teach them life lessons along with listening skills, respect for others, some of those core knowledge things that they need to learn in the classroom as well. So coyote is a huge part of our culture, and I want them to value those stories, so I put a huge importance on being respectful, if sitting down, not playing with your hands, like listening, really engaging. And I portray the story in a way that can help them throughout the day, help them not be greedy, or help them to love themselves and take care of themselves, such as like, and to let them know that coyote makes mistakes too. Yeah, there's a couple of there's seldom resources on YouTube, but Molly Matt has a list and a huge page of songs that I use. So I don't really use any other social media outlets but YouTube, the Big Buck Bunny, the Salish Incorporation, and then some of the language apps on there also. I've also thought about creating my own for my classroom in case I'm not here, because I have heard teachers say I'm kind of scared to teach it if you're not here. I don't want to make a mistake. I think the most important thing is to make sure that they're, for read alouds anyways on YouTube, native authors. That's like extremely important, because there's a lot of books that aren't by native writers, and they don't really know. They think they don't really know the truth behind the stories, and they don't know when a good time is to tell those stories, or unless that author has got permission from the tribe or a fellow like friend that's a tribal member or of tribal affiliation, then I don't recommend using any books without tribal authors. With our Salish culture, and with the families actually, I substitute everything in the curriculum with Native American culture. So I know the curriculum has all of these based, and I don't follow it step by step, but I substitute in our culture. Any spot that I see I can put in the gaps or substitute it, I will make it my own. So such as a circle time. They call it circle time. You need to introduce your name. This is where you learn your colors. I call it culture circle. They learn their name, but they learn it in Salish. So they will say, Lucy Louise Quest, my name is Lucy. Or they will say, okay, we're going to learn about colors. Everybody will say colors, and I'll say skeki, and they'll say skeki. So I substitute everything. Even for culture circle, we have movement. We're supposed to get their wiggles out, do some brain breaks. We do traditional dances, such as fancy dance, and now they're learning the sweetheart dance, the owl dance. I do have a lot of flexibility. I have a lot of understanding and a lot of support and encouragement to do this. And if I didn't, then I would make sure that I was able to make that change for us and for our kids. So I want to say about, I don't know the exact number, but more than half are Native American students here. I think the incorporation of Native American culture is a huge thing for them. I think that is a huge deal. Like, just listening is one of the most important aspects in our culture. I think that's where we have one of our biggest strengths, is listening before we speak. So teaching them Salish and teaching them words like that, it gives them that patience, all of the students. And it gives them that time to wait in that waiting period and to really listen to what I'm saying. And me being selective with my words, I think that helps them as well. But I do notice that there is that achievement gap, and I'm very aware of that. So I group them in certain ways that I can meet their needs, solidify concepts before I move on to the next thing. So I don't like to push through a curriculum. I don't like to race to the next level. I want to make sure that every kid is meeting that, whether it's one-on-one with me or whether I have to group them differently or fix their seating arrangements. I am doing assessments once a month. So as a first-year teacher, I'm still learning out the kinks and everything, but I'm realizing that the best way to do this is just knowledge of the student as much as possible, like what works for them, how they choose to speak to me, how they choose to use their hands. And so I think around this time I should probably use more manipulative, more hands-on things, and more speaking to them, like more specific requirements from them as we do assessments. Also, I think that paper and pencil assessments aren't always the best route. I think even like a little, like a recording, maybe we could, technology is so important to them, and they're different on the camera. They want to show you their school skills. They want to show it off. They want you to send that to their families. So I think using technology would also be a strong asset to that. I think it's important for you to come from a place of understanding. Oftentimes we can misunderstand, and we don't take a step back and look at the situation for what it may be. We often jump to conclusions. So the best thing for that is to first notice it, observe it, and then come to a solution before like severe consequences. So I think that we should, if it's in such a case where trauma is always a great deal, I think that you need to evaluate them with the school counselor and with the principal as well. So the most important thing I think is physical space in case of aggression, so and safety. So enable, like one thing we have is a safe spot or like a beanbag to go and sit down and relax and to feel out their emotions before it escalates, before it turns into something else. Sometimes they just need a break. Also, I think it's important to have like a para in there that can sit down with them, or you can switch off with them, but just to give them love. I think that's the most important aspect in all of it. They just to cry for help. So giving them that attention, that love, and depending on the student, on any student, but depending on the student, there's different, like some don't like to be touched. Sometimes you just need to leave them alone. Others just need that hug. Sometimes they'll come around. That patience, waiting it out, being very, very patient. But if you have a kid whose mind is scattered, in which I just learned this, but steady routine, the same thing every single day, visuals for them. You don't want to coddle them and make them feel like they're less capable of. You make them feel like they're like the rest and respond in an understanding manner, in a patient manner. First and foremost is humor. That's how we all survive. That's how we all, that's how we connect, making it fun, making jokes, laughing with one another. I think that's one of the strongest things that makes us happy people and have a good time together. Secondly is that strong family, that strong urge to be with your people and be around like all of your family, like connected and together and having a good time together, eating together, playing together, doing everything together. Celebrations where we get to be prideful in our outfits, be prideful in our jewelry, any kind of celebration that we have, whether it's powwows or jump dance or anything that relates to celebrating life, just being present, having a good time together. Also, the power of prayer. It's always, the most important thing is to know that we are the medicine, but it also is amazing how many resources we have, our own medicinal things that help keep us strong, such as sweetgrass and sage and husk and all of the herbs that we have and all of the elders that we have, the language, everything we do heals our heart. So one thing for sure is that we do is we never pray for ourselves. We pray for everybody. We pray for someone else. We pray for them. We never pray for ourselves. It'll always come back. So we always look out for one another. So that's, I think, one of our best strengths. I know that it can be scary. I know that I was scared, because I thought, okay, I don't know everything. I don't know it all. I don't have it mastered, so I'm nervous to do this. And I even remember teaching it for the first time here. It didn't turn out the way I thought it was. And they didn't take interest to begin with. And I got so discouraged, and I was like, oh no, and then I kind of just was like, no, they aren't gonna, you have to do it. This is who they are, and something is gonna spark, for them. So I was nervous, but I reached out and I asked for help. I wasn't afraid to ask questions, and I didn't give up. It was not only a service to me, but to my students. It helped them want to come to Culture Circle. It helped them want to be here. It helped them look forward to it. So I think that you just have to bite the bullet and don't be afraid to ask questions. Reach out to tribal members, tribal communities, send an email. People will see your efforts, and they want that for their students. So as long as you just put forth that effort, change that mindset to, I believe in these kids and I want to help build their identity. I want them to remember who they are so that they can be the best version of themselves inside my classroom and outside of my classroom. There's a woman called Debbie Reese. She has tons of listings on her website where those books are authentic that you can use in your classroom. On our CSKT homepage, there is resources on there for songs. There's the audio clips. There's the pages on what they say of our songs, and some of them are kind of contemporary, so fun for the classroom and specifically for early childhood education. Debbie Reese online, her last name is Reese. American Indian Children's Literature. Contemporary context, any type of literature that has contemporary context, just make sure that you fact check with the Debbie Reese website, American Indians Children Literature, so that you can make sure that those books are authentic. Those books have Native American kids wearing everyday clothes that they have on. They're talking about helping mom in the kitchen. Jingle dress is a good one. Also, there's another, Sherman Alexie makes some little tiny books also, some children's literature. But I think if we can step aside from using so much we can use historical. I think the biggest issue we have with using historical information is that we can get stuck in the past, or we can assume that's the way it still is when it isn't. So just to be careful to use your words carefully and say that this is what happened a long time ago. This is the way it used to be, and just setting aside those differences. This is the way it is now, but they still practice some of these traditions. Wherever you are in Montana, I would just get a hold of your closest tribal affiliation, your tribal colleges, tribal schools, the websites, the OPI websites. They have lots of curriculum on there. And I'm a resource as well. If you need to reach me, you can contact me at Dixon School, and I would love to help include anything that would benefit our Native American children. I think that I'm making a difference in these children's lives. I feel like I'm helping them build their identity, and it's so deep in their roots that when I'm trying to teach them phonemic awareness, how to pronounce b, k, and d, the sounds, it's okay for them. They got it. But when I'm teaching them Salish words, it's second nature. It comes. It's embedded in them. They come alive. And for you to see and for you to teach them who they are, that spirit just comes alive, and you'll see them grow, and you'll be amazed with what these kids can do.